United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Caroline, what are you doing?
I think Joe did it.
I'd like to welcome Gordon Patterson from the Board of Finance. First item on the agenda is public comment. Do we have any public comment this evening? Okay, we'll move right to the consent agenda. Are there any additions, corrections, or questions concerning the consent agenda? Could I have a motion then to approve it, please? Jody? A second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Tom, I believe we have a letter from our first selectman, Dan Stewart.
Yes, letter of replace about the possibility of temporarily relocating central office for a portion of the summer due to an HVAC project here. Obviously, if that comes to fruition, we need to message out to families in the community that will be relocated. Most likely relocation spot just for cleaning purposes and efficiencies of the district would be Clark Lane. So we've already had a conversation with Mr. Sachs, and we're exploring that plan.
Thank you, Tom. Superintendent's report.
Sure. We're delighted to have the Quaker Hill contingent here tonight to talk about their annual Marine Science Day program, which is quite ironic, talking about a springtime program with the weather we've had. But we do look forward to that day each year. It's a great program. I've myself, along with Mr. Powers, had the opportunity to go out each year. They've had it, and it's really a wonderful day. And you're going to see all the elements that really pull together, whether it's parents, high school, community members. It really is a great day and an instructional one. There are many districts who take kids to the beach for the day. We really embed learning in that, and that's what Mr. Discordia is here to talk about with his team. So I'll hand it off to you, Chris.
Thanks, Tom. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello, Tom said we spotlight by Quaker Hill for this month. We really are proud of our Marine Science Day. We've worked on it the last couple of years. I had some members of our Marine Science Day committee. We have a full committee, which is about 15 to 20 people. These are a couple of folks that are willing to come out tonight and talk to you about it. So basically, it's an all-school field trip to Waterford Beach. Every single student, every staff member goes to Waterford Beach, and they're immersed in marine science learning. So it takes lots of logistics to get them there. It takes about a year of planning for that one day, but it's probably my favorite day of the whole year. We have an amazing marine science department at the high school, led by Michael Connor and Jessica Castleberry, and some awesome students. We have over 40 student volunteers that come and help out, over 40 parent volunteers that come out. We have Mr. Ron Kenyon, who is Christina Kenyon, who's a school psychologist at our school. He's a captain, commercial fishing captain. He comes and does his station. And so it's just a really, really fun day if you want to share some of that.
Despite the dreary weather, Quaker Hill School students came back at the beach in Waterford. It was the second annual Marine Science Day at Waterford Beach. As part of the hands-on learning experience, they went to the beach, marshes, and estuaries in search of some life.
These are organisms that use us help to collect. So now that we've done our collecting with our last 2 minutes, you scientists are going to help collect some data.
That hands-on learning is based on their grade level, but we have some of the older students in the water, learning about some of the sea creatures. Some of the younger students are doing some touch tanks on the other side.
Good for them. Each grade wore different colored T-shirts as they all explored the park.
There's a little clip from the dance class here. So as you can see, as part of the video, there's an immersive learning opportunity for our students. It's supported by the whole district. It's supported by Waterford High School, and it's really minimal cost. We're using the awesome resources we have right down the road here, and it's just a great day. So the numbers, we have 370 students. All our staff members, we have over 40 parent volunteers that come and help out run the station, help kind of get the little ones from place to place. Over 40 Waterford High School students that are all part of the marine science classes come and they have their expertise from their classes and they can teach students about what they're learning. And then last year we actually integrated 3 buddy classrooms from Norwich Public School. We had 3 different classrooms that were doing pen pals, and that was the culminating activity of Marine Science Day. And with their buddies go to the different stations. So we're integrating some diversity for our students as well. So that was really a nice connection. We're hoping to move that forward this year as well. All right. With that, I'll pass it on to Mike.
So, hi, Mike. My marine science classes, I've got volunteers, students have got learning to service hours for coming to the program, and we set up out of the, how many total stations do we have? 30 stations. So, and my kids were manning almost all 30 and running 6 or 7 of those. So we bring all of the organisms that we have at the high school, which we collect throughout the year, and then do a real list of collecting for a couple weeks beforehand, and then bring everything down there. We do some releases while we're there as well. So we set up in the civilian touch tanks, we set up a couple pools, and the tech department came with ROVs, took existing ROVs, and we're adapting them to try and pick up things in the pool. We had a couple of professional ROVs there as well to see and potentially operate. And over the last 2 years, we have set up, seaweed pressing and some for the younger kids, some arts and crafts, and some finding treasures. And I've got a couple guys who ran stations here. Nick was there for the last 2 years, and Robbie came last year. You want to tell them a little bit about what you did?
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Robbie Cicero.
Hi, Robbie.
I'm a marine science student at Waterford High School. So I participated last year in the Quicker Hill Beach Day, and it was absolutely enriching for the Quicker Hill students. I ran the station where we were using a metal detector to detect prizes and stuff in the volleyball court at the beach park. And we had little matchbox cars, little pencils. It was a good time. So it was an enjoyable time. Everybody got to scan around the metal detector and try and dig up some prizes in the volleyball court.
Very good.
I'm Nick Kosich.
Hi.
I'm a junior at Waterford High School as well. I've been doing each day the past 2 years since I was a freshman. And as Robbie said, it is a great way for students to really get a feel for the ocean, really get a feel for what it's like to work in the marine science world. And in my opinion, I think that's a really great thing, because it's a good way for kids to get outside, really get to know the earth a little better than sitting inside on video games all day.
Well said.
In my opinion, I wish this was a thing when I was going through elementary school. So it is great to see smile on kids' faces when they do enjoy pick up the sea creatures and stuff that is fun. I did freshman year. I did the building sandcastle station, where we took groups of kids out and we would build sandcastles, had a good time. And then last year I did the seine net station, where we dragged the net through the water to collect different kinds of marine organisms. And the way I saw it was all the kids had a great time getting to look at what was in the water and look around them and really get a love for the ocean, as I did.
Thank you very much.
Nick and Robbie have taken part in our Project Go Summer program and have been involved in marine science for years. So they've taken a leadership role and are both on our ocean science whole team. And Project Go came the last 2 years as well. So as part of our district membership, we get some shore programs involved, included in our membership, so we would put those to this day activities. So Project Go from the same net station that Nick was working at. And thanks, Mike. That's Ron.
Sure. Ron Canyon. Hello. I'm a commercial fisherman. So I used to be an educator. I taught high school for 16 years. Had a full building class, North High School in Rhode Island.
sort of the commercial fishermen, I guess. Those are scup pots, by the way. Yeah. Right, that's a scup pot right there. And I basically have showed up the last 2 years. I take all of the gear that's in my backyard, that 5 lights, stuff me to get rid of it. I put it back in my truck. And then I set up the station. The first year we did not sign, so I had all sorts of pots and gear that had nets, lines, and then all the kids went some basic stuff on.
Wow.
Finished off with a great knot tying example of tug of war for them. This past year I did commercial fishing gear. So I brought in some gill nets, I brought in scup pots, lobster pots. I had a few trains, boats, and I just go over, what commercial fishing is to the local area and what it is to do like seafood and kind of connect things. As an educator, I tell you that participating in this one of my favorite things during the course of the year, because I wish school was like this every day. If school was like this every day, I would be a teacher. Yeah.
Well,
It's truly magic. It's fantastic to watch how much they enjoy it and how much they get out of it. So it's the magic that keeps coming back year after year. So, thank you.
Thank you for giving us your time.
So I put a lot of the organizations that help support us around the sides here. Boy Scouts help out with an orienteering station. NAS comes in for a reduced cost. The Coast Guard's coming this year. Project Go obviously donate some stations to us. There was a underwater diving station. Kids did not dive, but they learned about the year. I put ground peas on there. So they not only give us a reduced rate, we feed all the volunteers, but us, also drives it out there itself. To support us. So our PTA funds several stations through fundraising efforts. So it's really a team effort to get us down there.
So, God, how much does it cost altogether with all the donations? It should be not bad.
It's not bad at all. I mean, the space is free. Parks and Rec helps us with that. Ron's free. All kids are in the science department at the high school, and I think it's really good PR for them as well, because our kids can see you don't have to go to a marine science school to get all this awesome stuff. I wanted to point out that the Waterford Public Schools, everybody supports us. Central office from the minute I came up with this crazy idea, said, okay, let's make it happen. Kathy's helped us with some medically private students, helped us support kids if we thought they might overeat, kind of giving logistics there. Our maintenance and custodians, they help get 370 lunches organized into the beach and back and keep everything healthy and clean. Food services out there with us, helping prepare and hand out the food to the students. Our school resource officers are there. They have that dune buggy thing that they bring on the beach and helps to transport items, and also they're there for security as well. And then we also have our nurse and secretary stations there at the beach, and just walking in case we need to connect. It is a pretty large thing. I'll pass it to Amy Texler and talk about some of the stations.
It's Amy Texler. I'm the teacher over at Sacred Hill, and we do have quite a variety of stations for all the grade levels. Kind of try to group them as best we can with K1 stations, 2, 3, and grade 4, 5 stations, so that we could kind of have each year kind of have the students repeat them. So kind of our K1 students have similar experiences in our 2, 3, and then our 4, 5. Just to highlight some of the K1 bubbles and buoyancy, so kind of learning about testing materials. Teaching a big thing where they float and talking about why we were getting those discussions going, and why bubbles float, talking about that. Kind of the 2, 3, we heard about the commercial fishermen. We also had the Seaport come this last year. They had a CCMP, so the kids were learning some of the songs that they would sing on the boat. We have the ROVs come, grades 4, and typically the stations, they stay there for about 30 minutes, and then they get the opportunity to rotate. It's a lot with logistics because we utilize the whole area and we're having the kids rotate, but certainly we want to keep them, the rotations nice and organized and not having them walk too far in between stations. Kind of more when we get to whether it's ROVs, as Mike mentioned, the staining, the Mars study, the test tanks, they're all wonderful opportunities for the students to really learn about the animals. The younger kids, they learn through the touch tanks, so they really get to learn about the invertebrates and the different adaptations that those animals have to survive. And then the older students get to go staining, the 4 and 5 students that are actually getting in the water and dragging the net through the water to actually see what life is right there, in the water and down the river swimming at and stuff.
We actually have, yes, thank you. We actually have high school students that are lifeguards that are there on as well. Our kids have the waders on them in the water, but high school students again helping us out with having certified lifeguards on. And thank you. Here's a map kind of all the different stations we had last year. We're changing it up a little bit this year, but just to give you an idea of the beautiful space and then kind of the stations we have. Any questions?
Thank you, Chris. Great job. Questions or comments?
Yeah, Chris, when do you go? What's the date?
So we typically have done the Friday before Memorial Day.
Uh-huh.
This year we're going to do the Tuesday after Memorial Day with a makeup date a couple days after.
Okay.
Might see you.
Yeah.
Glad to have you.
So all the families who have jumped off to the Marine Science School visit, they need this mailed home or something. I don't know. Or they need a,
Jody?
I just want to thank you for offering this great program. I wish my kids had it when they were in elementary school. And my husband was a commercial fisherman, and so was my youngest son, so you know how important this is. And I'm so glad you're speaking to the children about what it is to commercial fish. It's a tough life.
We talk a lot about community, and we're a shoreline community, and what that means. And actually, we found a lot of our students after the first year, they were saying they actually hadn't even been to our beach here in town.
Wow.
So that was a good connection. And obviously, a lot of the students from North had never been to the beach either, so that was kind of a nice thing.
Thank you.
Great job, great job. It's a great program, and I want to commend our high school students. I get to go around to the stations, and I'm one to ask a lot of questions, just because I'm curious, but also test them a little bit, and they know their stuff, so should feel good about that.
So impressive. Really impressive.
Great program. In front of you, in your packets, you have some information about our March 9th PD Day. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our students for being here tonight. You have a March 9th PD packet. It is a robust day of programming to make this happen. And again, I had the opportunity, certainly with Mr. Powers, to wander around and stop in sessions, and staff were very engaged. Craig, I know you wanted to point out a couple of highlights.
Yeah, just we had over 50 ed camps. We hosted 4 of the 9 regional PDs here in our high school and in Clark Lane. We had 3 faculty members lead some of those regional PDs. We focused the regional PD on instructional strategies, technology, restorative practice, and assessment. So we kind of gave a focus for teachers to come up with. And really, some of the only negative feedback was that the sessions that they wanted to get into were so packed. So it's showing that there's a need, and especially the technology ones. We had administrators like Krista Scordia lead in Ed Camp. We had a myriad of teachers, and we even had a couple paras lead. So the day was really for teachers and paras to collaboratively learn together.
This is really what we did is we really took our strategic plan, the PLEC committee took our strategic plan and board goals and said we really want to focus our Ed Camp sessions in those areas, and it really worked out well. Any comments or questions for Craig on that? Or
Jody?
I just have a comment. I was really impressed with the titles of a lot of the workshops, and I appreciate the fact that you also gave a little synopsis of what they were each about. And I'm happy to see engagement volunteers. I mean, I think that's really important to the school system.
And so this is what we gave out to teachers, and then they basically selected. So it's a modified Ed Camp version. They have to pre-select what they want to go see, so that we make sure that we have the capacity for it and have the materials ready, and they choose ahead of time. So the facilitators know kind of who to expect.
And there was also things outside of the box. There was in touch too with the sports marketing. You have people who not stadium and the Mountain Sign, so that's part of our...
Yeah, I can't take personal credit for all the regional PD work, but that's the benefit. That's the benefit of having regional PD, because while I am there in the planning stages with my counterpart in Montville, we really get the facilitators to say, what do you think your group needs? And, you know, you mentioned the sports one, you know, the art one also went to art museum, so they really are meeting their own personal needs to grow professionally.
That's variety.
Thank you, Greg.
There's a couple of announcements. This month is Youth Art Month nationally, so we have work from all 5 schools in the Ward Conference Room and in the hallway, and we're going to always continue to be impressed, and it's great to see parents and families and students wander up during the course of the month. You may have recently seen a joint memo that Chief Mahoney from Waterford PD and I put out to families and staff around school safety. Part of that memo was announcing that we're going to be holding school safety forums at each of our 5 schools this spring. Craig, myself, and the chief actually met today to begin planning those. We'll publish dates to those soon, but we're going to hold one at each school. We're going to talk to parents about all the precautionary measures that we take. Certainly not going to disclose confidential security protocols, but certainly all the different ways, both from a physical structure standpoint, how our buildings are secure, but also all the mental health preventative stuff that we're doing as a district. And Chief Mahoney is certainly going to talk from a law enforcement perspective about how we keep our schools safe and how we would respond in the case of an emergency. So the parent feedback on that these are going to happen, has been very positive. So certainly I'll make the board aware when those dates are announced. A couple other announcements. You've heard us talk about our Teacher Leadership Academy. We have session 4 next week. So we have 21 or 22 teachers engaged in that work this year around leadership and becoming strong teacher leaders, or stronger teacher leaders. Our work continues on our strategic plan in February. Our district data team worked with a facilitator from the Center for School Reform on initiative mapping, really taking a look at what are all the initiatives we're doing in our district. Do they tie together? Are they having an impact? What resources are we dedicating to those? Do we continue to do them? Do we stop? Are we missing stuff? So that whole analysis is ongoing. We pull back together next week as a district data team, and we're going to continue our work around our assessment inventory and analyzing all the different assessments we're giving in our district. What data are we getting from those? Are we using it? What impact? Again, I want to congratulate our hockey and boys basketball teams. Both are state champions, and we're very proud of them. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that March is Board Member Appreciation Month. I know you are humble and don't like to be recognized, but you do put in a lot of time throughout the course of a year, and our students created note cards for you, so the note card you have in front of you is a small token of our district's appreciation for all that you do. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Committee and other reports. Policy, Marcia?
Basically, we reviewed the policies that you have in your packet. Had a brief discussion on most of them that were just legal matters, but the field trip one took a few sessions to get passed. But I think we've got it to where we want it. But now it's up to your purview to take a look at it.
Thanks, Marcia. Jody, Youth Services?
Yes, I do. Tomorrow is a really important night. It's Dancing with the Stars. I have tickets. All the proceeds from it are going to go towards mental health. Danny she's been challenged with a lot more counseling this year, and they can really use the support. And it's called Dancing with the Stars, Waterford versus East Line, the Dance Showdown. So I hope you can make it. I have tickets in case anybody would like some, but it's just nice that Youth Reserve supports our students and helps us with them.
I'll be judging if you want to.
Thanks, Jody. I don't think there are any other committee reports.
The Atlantic broadband was canceled because of yesterday's
Yeah.
It was canceled.
I went to, I didn't see it, but I went to the Learn board meeting last month, and there was some conversation about a church, a local church in Waterford wanting to use and rent some Learn facilities, which was declined, but I talked to Tom about it on the phone, so I'll follow that. So that's what I
Thanks, Chris. Anything else? Okay, new business. Review and possible action on ED 099, Addendum Healthy Food Certification. Tom.
This is an annual requirement that we ask the board to pass. It is so we're in alignment with state and federal requirements around the food that we serve our students. There is a write-up in your agenda notes. Joe, I don't know if you have anything.
Long story short, if we want money from the state for free and reduced, we have to pass this and follow it.
So it means we commit as a district to meet certain nutritional guidelines in the meals we serve.
Someone care to make the appropriate motion? Jody.
I'd like to make a motion that the Waterford Board of Education agrees to comply with the standards for healthy food certification, implement the healthy food option, and direct Ms. Kathy Main, Director of Food Services at Waterford Public Schools, to submit the ED 099 Addendum, Healthy Food Certification, as part of the CSDE's online application and training system for child nutrition programs for the 2018-19 school year.
That's a wonderful motion.
I didn't write it.
It's been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And we also need a motion to approve the exemption for food items as set forth in our notes. Do I have such a motion? Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion is that the Waterford Board of Ed agrees to allow food exemptions for the 2018-2019 school year as outlined in the exemption for food items section of the Healthy Food Certification application set forth by the CSDEP. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. With respect to our budget discussion, the budget presentation has been continued to this coming Monday at 7 p.m. So I hope you all will be there. Of course, that was due to the snow.
I will be there.
I hope so, Tom.
At this time of the year, we non-renew our long-term substitutes, not by reason of their performance, but simply so that they don't acquire a permanent status. So that's on our docket next. Anyone care to...
I'll make the motion that the Waterford Board of Education moves that the contracts of employment of Mallory Hannaford, Erica Udoff, Jonathan Giuliano, and Christine Willis not be renewed for the following year upon their expiration at the end of the 2017-18 school year, and that the superintendent of schools is directed to advise such persons in writing of this action.
Second? Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we now have a second reading of policies. Bylaw 9132. Is there any discussion on that? If not, could I have a motion to approve that?
I'd like to make a motion that the Waterford Board of Education approves and adopts bylaws number 9132, committee as presented.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We now have a first reading of policies in the 5,000 series. These are all policies that qualify for approval tonight, as they're mandated by state law. We can discuss them, or if you've reviewed them to your satisfaction, you can simply move to a motion.
I have, do you want to do it policy by policy?
We can do it all in one motion.
Because I do have a question about the field trips.
Oh, that's a different one.
That's a separate
That's
one.
a separate
Sorry.
one. Yep. We're just dealing with those 5,000.
The first 5, okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Work.
Jody,
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt all 4 policies.
is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Policies are approved unanimously. Field trips. Craig, would you like to present this to the board?
Sure. So the policy itself hasn't changed, but the regulations we've really adjusted, and as common, we'll bring that to the board. This came up as a board inquiry to just review our field trip policy, and as such, we really have done some clarity when it came to in-state field trips, out-of-state field trips, and international trips. We have given all field trips kind of a tighter coherence to the regulations by a couple questions in a form for the pre-approval, a couple questions at the end of the field trip to see was it worthy. We have added a certain minimum number of students for international trips, and let's see, we've obviously acknowledged that we have preschool in the grade spans. We've done some massaging of language, so ordinarily seemed a little open-ended, so we said, students will not be left alone, and adults shall stay with the groups, and we put in when appropriate, meaning obviously, if they're in the restroom or something, there's obvious times when, it wouldn't be appropriate. And we've sort of delineated, again, what the forms are in the back and tied it right into the regulations, I think a little tighter, so it should be easier for faculty to really follow along the intent of the policy. So that's really it, but entertain whatever questions the board...
This is the first reading, so we're not going to vote on it, but I think maybe you...
Yeah, I did have just some recommendations.
Please.
You use international at the beginning of the regulations, but then you revert to foreign. I would recommend that
consistency. Yep.
Everything be international. Foreign has a little bit of a negative connotation on it. So that will require, though, some of your forms be changed in addition to the language of the regulations. And then the permission that's signed off by the principal. So it's form number 9.
Yep.
I would actually put in there, because I've used a document like this myself, language around, because the policy and the regulations had it about cost. So the principal, when the principal's signing off, the principal knows if it's covered in the budget, if it's fundraising, or if the students are going to bear any of the costs.
Great,
so,
great feedback, so I'll add that.
Just so that when the principal's doing it, he or she knows where the money's coming from for the field trip and what the cost is.
And I didn't mean to interrupt. Did you have some suggested language? Or?
No.
Okay.
You're much better at it than I am, so I'll
Fair
defer to you.
So the 3 categories are quite nice, the way you stated it.
Other comments or questions? Jody?
I just have a question, maybe I missed it, I read it twice, but what's the ratio of chaperones per student?
Oh, it's in there. It's at the bottom of the page.
On international.
1 to 10.
Because this is, grade 9 to 12, 1 to 15, that seems like an awful lot in your or is that?
So,
Page K, I believe. Go to letter C on page K.
Letter C on page K, the ratio is 1 to 8 for international trips, and that's actually how we comported to getting a minimum of 8.
Yeah.
I have a question.
But with 1 to 8 is the ratio. If we did have 8, excuse me, Chris, for a second, we shouldn't have fewer than 2 chaperones going on international trips. So there's that minimum number of 2 chaperones.
Does that include faculty? The faculty member, or?
That would be the chaperone, yes. Sorry, Chris.
That's right. I didn't see, I saw that parents are able to chaperone. I saw that sort of on letter G and D, but are parents vetted if they're being chaperoned?
Yeah, so for,
Thing about adult behavior.
Yeah, but I didn't see, are they vetted to make sure that?
Are you talking
Correct.
background check and fingerprinting and the whole?
yeah, so the background check would be, they would have to swipe their license through our check system as a form of background check for regular trips, and then on international.
I'm assuming if they got their passport, they would have been cleared by the government.
I don't know if the process differs for international trips because they're not staff chaperone, technically chaperone international trips.
Correct.
I know sometimes a parent may attend,
But the
I think we would use we would be using the same process.
Did I not see it in there about the license thing being swiped?
Well, that is our
That's
process for
That's not listed.
any visitor to come into the school. And so to chaperone, you had to come into the school to pick up the kids. But we can certainly add that as a redundancy in this policy for sure.
Question for you, Chris. I think it's a good question you raised, Chris, but if someone had a criminal record, would we be aware of it if they were applying to be a chaperone?
So the system checks for if you're on the DCF registry as a sex offender, and if there are any protective orders around children. If a person has a criminal record, it would depend on the severity of the crime, I guess. If there are situations where the police department feels that we should know information to be safe, then that line of communication happens so that either the chief or one of the lieutenants would usually call central office and let them know so that we would let the building principal know. But that's the extent of it currently.
It sounds like we don't do a formal court search.
That is
Court
correct.
record search. And question for our police department friends, is that something they can do? I know we could pay for it to have it done, but maybe we should. I mean, it'd be a horrible situation if you get someone that we didn't know about that has some offense that doesn't fit into one of the pigeonholes that you listed.
So let me find that information out and bring it to the next board meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Chris.
are you counting, I missed it, we were all talking, if you do the international trip, is that parent who's not a faculty member part of the ratio? So if you had 16, if you had 16 going, and it's one teacher and one parent, is that parent qualifying as the chaperone? Or are they being vetted as such?
Yeah. So we've never sent an international trip out with just one faculty member. There's been a minimum of 2, sometimes 3 faculty members. So that usually satisfies the minimum number of chaperones.
Okay.
And some parents may come along for the journey, and it's nice to have extra eyes, but they're not being the sole chaperone.
I didn't see that in here. I didn't see that the minimum to the ratio of the 8-to-1 is that for the international trip, that it's really 8-to-2 if that's what you're saying.
Well, in letter C, if you read the last sentence, it does say a minimum of 2 chaperones are there. If your question, Chris, is are they Waterford faculty, we could certainly add that.
Okay.
If you look at, just to go back to the background check piece, if you go to letter K, again, this is still on international trips. Page K, letter B, it says all official chaperones shall attend the pre-trip orientation meeting. Any individual who is not a school employee shall be subject to a criminal background check and a check of the Department of Children and Families Registry prior to becoming an approved chaperone. So for international trips, we are doing a criminal background check.
That to me, though, means a court record search. It costs about $50 to have done. And I thought you indicated we're not doing a formal court record search.
So let me...
So we have to define what criminal background check
Right,
means.
Exactly. So let me do some
Good point.
deeper dive in that area and come back to you with that.
Thank you.
And can I just ask, Chris, are you, just to clarify, you're hoping that at least whatever the chaperones that are from the school should be faculty? Or are you saying it's okay if one is a parent and one is a faculty?
No, I'm saying it's okay now that you've done practice for me, that it's okay for those people, they're faculty, so there's two. So on the 8th, there's really two, because it's in the second month.
And I can tell you the district practice on international trips has been the two official chaperones are staff. That's been the practice.
Other comments or questions? Great.
Page K, the last sentence, the second word should be fun.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We now need to move into executive session to discuss school security and pending claims and litigation. Invite Mr. Giard, Mr. Mancini, and Mr. Powers to attend. If I can have such a motion. Here, second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. Give time for the folks to move out, and then we'll go into executive session.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, everybody.